Okay. Hello guys, welcome once more to Miss Squad YouTube channel, and I hope you're here to stay, alright? So we are going to move to the second chapter of at that crash course, okay, where we stop from the last part. Okay, so get your VS Code ready, get your machines. In fact, your machines are already ready, so your fingers ready. So we are going to dive ahead into what we call operators. Okay, we're going to master that operators. I mean, we're going to view it from a different angle. You kind of get what I'm trying to say, right? So what are operators first of all in that? Okay, so operators are just special symbols that are used to carry out certain operations on the operands, right? And that um as well as other languages has numerous built-in operators in which you can use to carry out different functions. For example, let me just show you an example here on my screen, but we are going to go ahead and use that, okay? For example, this, not that. Yeah, I mean this. We call this the plus operator, okay? It is used to add two operands. Now, operators are meant to carry out operations, right? They are meant to carry out operations on one or two uh, operand. So, well, as we go ahead, we're going to use all of them. Okay, don't worry about that. So, let me just quickly run through the different type of operands. Yeah, the different type of operators we have. Let me see if I can. I'll just use the notepad. Let me just create a txt file here, which we're going to be using as a note reference. Uh, let's just say that operators.txt. Okay, so first of all, we have the arithmetic, and what I'm going to do is that when I explain one, we're going to actually go ahead in the code and make use of that. Okay, so we have the arithmetic, if I can spell, the arithmetic operator or operators. Okay, so what we're going to do now is that we're going to go to this bin folder, and the way we're going to do it is create folder, right? We're going to create another folder by clicking on this new folder icon. And we're going to call it operators. Operators. Okay. So from our terminal, we're going to cd into operators. Hmm, okay. Oh, okay. That crash course. Then I now need to cd into the bin. Okay. And now cd into operators. Okay. That sounds good. Okay, so we are going in this operators, we're going to create file. The first one maybe that we're going to go ahead and call it the arithmetic. Just let's just use the word arithmetic with that. I think, or let's just use operators. We're just going to put everything in this file. Operators, yeah, operators dot dat. Don't forget your dot dat file extension, which is what that uses to be able to recognize that this is a dat file. Okay, that issue. So for the arithmetic operators, we have a couple of them. Okay, we have let me just go ahead and rapidly create this void main. And okay, so for the arithmetic operators, we have the addition, which I just showed earlier, which uh, is a plus used to add two operands. We have the negative sign, or should I say the minus operator name subtraction used to subtract two um, operands. We have the multiplication to multiply two. We have the division used to divide two operands, and we have this symbol. Yeah, okay, I can get it. Now it's called division, but this one it's kind of like should I use the word special in the sense that it's used to divide two operands, but it gives you the output. The output is an integer, okay? The output in integer form. You get, don't worry, we're going to use that and you're going to see that out, okay? So now we also have this. We call this the modulus, okay? The modulus is used to give you the remainder of two operators in that. So let's go ahead. Enough of talking and let's code a bit. Let's code. I'll be feeling the energy. Okay, let's go ahead. So we're going to define two variables here. Let's say int a and int b, which is also we're going to say 3. Okay, so don't worry about this error here. The value of the local variable a is in use because we haven't yet started using it. That's why we are getting this warning. Okay, some sort of warning. It's not an error, but it's warning. You can even see the color is in blue, right? It's like just, let me not say maybe warning, but just displaying an information, right? Right. Yeah. So we have that. I think, let me try out something. I think that has something called type inference. Let's see. It's, yeah, yeah. So we are going to get to that part, but for now, let me just leave it as int. I'm going to explain why I made mention surely by the end of this video or before I end it, yeah, why I said type inference. So we're going to start with the first one. Let's say adding a and b. Okay, so we're going to say, well, let's use the var c, okay, is equals to a plus b, right? So we are now going to come and print that out. Okay, so we're going to say sum of A and B is dollar sign C, lowercase c. So now, I don't know if I made mention of this, but the dollar sign C, it's a way of being able to read variables in between this string quotes, right? These quotes. So whenever you want to pass in a string here and you wish to be able to display the value as it is when it gets calculated, right? You use the dollar sign to represent that this is actually a variable because you say here it says c, but if I remove the dollar sign, the c actually becomes a normal letter, right? It's not more a variable again. So you need to indicate by using the dollar sign. So let's go ahead and use the dollar sign. Okay, so at this point in time, I think we're just going to use our normal dat. Remember, operators dot dat, and let's get an answer. Okay, that's the answer. The sum of A and B is 5. Okay, so we can go ahead and proceed the same as the other operators I made mention of. We're just gonna go rapidly. I'm just gonna copy and paste this some few times and just maybe change some stuff. So here we're going to say the don't mind me. I don't know the alphabet actually, but don't worry about it. I'm just kidding. So let's just flow. Let's just flow. We got here an F, and also we got here a G. So I think I'll just paste that again some couple more times, and yeah. So we got here and H. Did I actually miss something? C D E. Okay, doesn't look like I missed something. Okay, but that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, let's go ahead. So after the adding addition, we have subtracting, which we're just gonna come here. Oh, oh. Okay, it's actually here. We're just gonna come here and just say minus, and here you've guessed it, of course, we're going to use the variable d to represent a minus b, the value of the a minus b in our terminal. So the next one we're going to use the, excuse me, the next one we're going to use the multiplication. Okay, Mul multiplication, which of course you press the shift on your keyboard and 8. I'm sure that's the same thing, and you guessed it again. We're going to use here and E. Okay, for the earth, we're going to use division. Here we're going to have division. Okay, so yeah, that's it. As for that, and the next we're going to have again is um the other operator that I made mention of, which was the, I think, the division, but that had something like a wave in front of it. But let's just use this and say, so to be able to get this sign on your keyboard that I'm using, you hold the shift key and you press the, I think, the key that is before the one, okay, the one with the exclamation mark, but the one before it, okay, just like the starting of your keyboard. Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, and you have that, that's it. And the last one now that we're going to use is the remainder. Okay, the remainder. Remember. Okay. So yeah, we're just going to just also modify this. The remainder of A and B is okay. I didn't even modify this along the line H. Here we're going to have G. Okay, F was already there. So yeah, that's it. So here we're going to say the quotient. Okay. Mm, yep. So we're also gonna copy that. Here we go. And okay, I'm just gonna say multiplication here. Okay, and subtraction. Right. Oh, we can just go ahead and just say difference. Well, let's just say the difference. The difference. Okay, I like it that way. The difference equation, the remainder. Okay. Okay, so we already have all of these, so let's just go ahead and execute this. So as remember, like I told you, you just press your up key on your up key, right? The arrow key faces the up, or the up arrow key, right, on your keyboard, and you press enter. It's going to bring back the last command you actually type your terminal. Okay, so now we see here the sum of a and b 5, the difference of a and b is -1, multiplication is 6, of course. Now we have now something here. Okay, so remember earlier I said this returns to you like it returns an integer. Okay, so you see here that the first part we're having here, which is actually this, did the normal division of 2 divided by 3, which we had 0.6666. You can actually use a calculator to punch it out, and you get the same values. Okay, but this other value, this other sign, when we make use of it, we actually tell that we want the integer itself. Okay, so yeah, the integer of the value, the nearest integer. So not the nearest integer, sorry, just the integer itself. So you actually see here that we actually got a 0, right? Because that was the integer. That means it truncates, it like removes this decimal part after it and just returns to us to us just the integer. Okay, when you be coding or when we be as we keep going along the courses and the other different um works or playlists we are going to be working on, you're going to see that we will come ahead and use this. There are some cases where you want to do some kind of like computations, but you don't need the decimal part. Okay, you just need the integer. Okay, and I think this part I made a mistake was actually supposed to be the modulus operator. So let's just run that out again. Okay, so we get a 2. Okay, so it went ahead and divided um 2 by 3 and returned to us the remainder. Okay, the remainder which is 2. You can actually do that. It's just pretty basic arithmetic, right? So let's move on. Let's move on. So we have I'm going to leave this out here. I think I'll just comment this out. Yeah, I'll just comment the whole of this out and just create another main function. Okay, so we don't get to mess up everything. Don't worry about it. You can have the code. I'm actually going to push this to my GitHub account. Okay, and I'm gonna leave the link in the description so you can view it and get access to it to see if maybe along the line you're following up or not. Okay, but don't worry about it. So let's move on. So we also have what I'll call relational relational operators. Okay, let's go to our text. So that text file here, and let's say number 2 to make sure that we're covering all the operators. Okay. Yeah. So that's it. So here we're talking about relational operators. So this is a class of operators that contains those excuse me to use again the word operators, but yeah, which are used to perform relational operations on the operand. So it goes like this. I know I've used a lot of operators and operands, but let's just dive into it. Okay. So you have this the greater than sign. Okay, we call this the greater than sign. And okay, I also forgot to mention in that to comment things outright or lines of code, we use the double slash. Okay, if for example I do this and I want to comment this out, you say it's the double slash. Okay, to be able to comment that out. But we're going to come to that. Don't worry about that. So this is called the greater than sign. That's the name of the operator, right? The greater than. Check which the operator to is used to check which operand is bigger and gives the result as a boolean. Okay, so we are now entering another data type called booleans, true or false. Okay, so we also have less than to check which operand is smaller and give the result as well as. Let me just provide that also. That's it. Less than. So we also have the greater than equals to, which check which operand is greater or equal to each other. Okay, it checks which is greater than or equal to each other. We also have the less than, the same analogy, less than or equal to. So we have the equal to check whether the operands are equal to each other or not. Okay, and then we also have this operand which signifies not equal to. Okay, it checks whether the operands are not equal to each other. Okay, so we are going to use that. I think I'll just delete this. I think I'll just make use of this A and B already here. But what I'm just gonna do is comment out the part that we had already written, okay? So that we don't get to overload our terminal with a lot of stuff. Let's just display on the terminal what we are actually or currently working on, okay? So we still have our values up there in A and B. And I'm just gonna go ahead, right? Say var C is equals to A, or let's start with the greater than sign B. I think maybe I'll just recopy these two. so that we spend less time with typing all of this, and then we can move um, faster rapidly. Yeah. So let's go ahead and uncomment these. I'm just gonna separate them by some asterisk so I know that okay, yeah, that is a different section. So I'm going to say relational operators. Operators. Okay. Yeah. So with that, we're going to say we have the C, which is the greater than sign. Uh, so we're going to say greater. Uh, so here we're going to put here A is greater than B. So A is greater than B. What is it even? In fact, I'll just write it by saying is A greater than B. So because we remember we said it's going to return to us a boolean, right? So we're going to say is A greater than B, and it's going to reply give us a response, right? So let's just put it. Let's just go in that format. So let's just format the rest. Less than um greater than greater than equals to less than equals to uh, okay, triple equals to not actually triple, double. Okay, don't mind me. Yeah, so we have that here. We're going to call it inequality. Okay, so here we're going to call it the equality, and here we're going to call it less than or equal to A and B, and of course you guessed greater than or equal to A and B, and here we also just have the less than. Okay. Uh, hmm, hmm, hmm. So are we also going to be writing all of this? So I think I'll just leave the first statement, okay, and just leave that in here so we will know what we actually printing. Okay, so we have this. Okay, we have this. Okay, so that's what we have. Let me clear off my terminal. So that's it. So we're going to go ahead and type again the date operators. Okay. Okay, so we have a bunch now of values. So we're going to be working with what we wrote here. So you see in the first case we have remember that this A and B we have them defined up here 2 and 3, okay? And here we're asking is to greater than 3 and it returns to us false. Okay. So we went is A less than B. True, that's 2 is less than 3. Uh from what we know, right? That's what we know. So here for the other ones it's the same thing, right? Just less than greater than equal to. You see for example here for the third option we have false, right? Because A is not greater than or equals to B. For the fourth option we have true, which is here. Okay, so and for the equality I did the same. That's what actually it means. We get a false. Okay, and for the inequality we get a true. So that's it. Pretty straightforward, right? Yeah. So let's continue. Let's dive now. Let's spice up a little bit things, okay? By using what we call the type test operators, okay? Uh, I'm just gonna comment this out again. I'm gonna copy this so we know the distinction of what we actually working on. So as later on said, type type test operators, okay, and we are now going to advance a little bit further by not using these values again. Okay, these values were for the first part. Okay, so let me first of all explain what permits me. What are type test operators? Okay. Yeah. So what are type test operators? Hmm. I myself, I don't know. Okay, I'll just kid you about that. Just a little minute of relaxing. Okay, what are type test operators? So this class of operators contains those operators which are used to perform comparison on the operands, right? I know you. It's kind of like not really like but you're going to understand when once I'm going to give you the different operator symbol, and then I'm going to give you the operator name, and then we give like the operator description, right? It's going to be clearer then. Okay, so let me start with the first, which is actually that is okay. The operator symbol is is. The operator name is. Right, that's it. So now what does it do? It just gives the boolean value. It gives the boolean value true as output. Recall if the object has specific type. So now here we have already gone again into another level. Now we are not talking about objects. Don't worry about that. We are going to come across all of that. Okay. So now if the object has specific type, don't worry. I know. Well, I'm going to explain that as we go along. Okay. Now the other operator symbol is question exclamation mark. Okay. Is it the exclamation? Yeah, the exclamation, which the operator name is called is not. Okay, just like the the one for the inequality is not. That's the operator's name. So it just gives a false as output if the object has specific type, right? So let's just, I know I'm a little bit confusing you. Okay, let's type that out. Okay, you're going to understand better. So here we're going to use a string, a data type. Let's just use let me just use me squared. Okay. Hmm. Me squared. Don't know why I didn't type it in capital letters, but well, we're now going to use a double, and the double in that is just to say float, right? Remember we have int and we have doubles. Yeah, int double just to say float in other programming languages. So going to say using let's see, we're going to start with the first one, which is called is to compare. Okay, and we're going to print. We're going to say um a is string. Okay, forget about this unnecessary type check. The result is always true. Okay, it's because I've actually defined it as a string. I've used the data type. That's why let's just go ahead and use final. You're going to see something. Okay, yeah, so it's able to really tell ahead that it's a string because that has what we call I think it has the AOC, that is ahead of time compilation, and it has the compile time, right? So there's when you run code, it gets compiled. That means it gets run at the runtime, the compile time, right? And now you have ahead of time means with that can already tell ahead what something is going to be. That's if you code along, maybe I realize that at certain point in times you have the that analyzer, right? That analysis already telling you that okay, here you have said it's a string, but you're actually assigning it a an integer, right? So let me just do it so that you just see what I'm saying about. So suppose we said here that this was a string, and then we assigned it something like three. You see, get so it already says that a value of int can be assigned to a variable of type string, I remember I said in the beginning of the chapter that that is strongly typed. Okay, it's always good that when you use your variables, you specify their type. That's what we mean by statistically typed. Okay, you provided the type of the variables already, right? And so it helps you avoid a lot of errors as you code. Okay, so let's just go ahead. So it has already gone ahead and it's telling us that it's true. Okay, but suppose I just had a variable. If I use the variable, okay, that's interesting. Still unnecessary type check. It has already gone ahead and checked. Let's try to see if I should say three. Okay, now you see it's not displaying that again. Because why? It has already gone ahead of us and checked. Yeah. So let's go ahead and the is not. Okay. So we're going to print B is not int. No, no, no. That's not what I meant. It's not int. Okay. So let's print that to our terminal and what do we get? True, true, true. Okay. Which of course is true, right? So in that, when for example, especially when we start dealing with classes and we want to start comparing instances of objects and like even objects themselves, okay, we in equality, right, there's a package that we call I think if I get the name equality operator, okay, on pop the def. Let me see if I can get that out. uh, Equality pop the def. I guess that's the name. It's actually being used I usually use it in with the block stage management. Okay, okay, yeah, it's called equitable. Yeah, equitable. So you see that when we use that most of the times along inside the package, if you go to the source code and everything, you see they use the equals to operator, they use the is operator to compare um, instances and all of that, and you already can see from here that we are able to see that B is not uh, a double, okay? It's not an integer, it's actually a double. That's why it still returns to us true. But if I remove these and I added this here, I think, what do you get? What do you think we're gonna get? False, false. Okay. So that's it for this type test operators. Okay, like the name already suggests, type. We use them to test the types, right? To see if maybe what we are receiving from A is actually a string. Okay, if it is a string, then we can proceed. So let's go ahead. We have. I'm not going to talk much on this, but you can actually do some research. We have what we call the bitwise operators. Okay, we actually have what we call the bitwise operators. Okay, I don't know why some of the operators in capitals and others are really well, that doesn't matter. Okay, as long as you just follow along the course. So for the bitwise operators, it's like lots of operators that contains those operators in which you use bitwise operations, operands. Okay. Uh, I'm not going to dive deep into that, but I think I'll just show you an example with one. Okay. So, say for example, I'm just gonna comment this out again. I'm not just going to use all of that. We said the bit, bit, uh, bitwise operators. If I can spell. Okay, the bitwise operators. Okay, so I'm just gonna use one. There's what we call the bitwise and. Okay, the bitwise and. So we're going to perform. We're just going to say int A is equals to 5, int B is equals to 7, and we're going to say uh, performing. Now, if I can really spell the B twice and okay, operator. Wow. So we're going to say variable C is equals to mm, A, B, okay, and then we're going to print C. Okay, and if we clear off our terminal, we do that, we get a 5. Okay, I'm not going to dive too much into this, but this actually goes to turning all of this into bits, right? Right, you need to actually be able to convert the 5 into um it's bit format, that is binary format. No computer understands zeros and ones, right? And all this representation here that we have on the screen is actually what we humans can understand, and behind the scenes it's actually bits that are being treated, right? Yeah, in which we know that 8 bits is 1 byte. Okay, so all of that, so you need to actually convert the 5 in decimal to its bit, um let's say to its binary form. Yeah, and you get it, and when we say and, it means we're actually adding, so you have to do that and do convert also the 7 and do the addition, and then you're going to come out with the result of a 5. So yeah, that's it. Let's just go ahead. So now we're going to dive into the assignment operators, okay? And as we go along, we are going to see plenty of other operators. Okay, so let's go ahead. The next operator we're going to see, it's called the assignment operator. Okay, assignment operators. As you wish. Assignment operators. Okay, let's also update our table to uh make sure that we know how we are proceeding. Okay, so in this assignment operators, this operators which you use to assign values, right, to operands. We use to assign values to operands. Okay, so let's go ahead. Um, int A is equals to 5. Int B is equals to 7. Yeah, we can use that. Okay, so we even made use of this assignment operators, but I just wanted I should reach here before I make mention of it. Okay, before I made mention of it. So we have C times B. Okay, well now we're gonna go ahead and print C. Okay, and then next we're going to say assigning value to variable D, assigning value to variable D. Okay, and we're going to start off by defining D, just like that. Okay, at this point in time, we have just said it's a variable, right? Because remember, when we use the word variable, means it can be an integer, it can be a float, it can be a string. Okay, there are other other types that we're going to come along. So here we just said it's a variable, means it's just a container which can contain anything. Okay, so we're going to say okay. I didn't even talk about the different operators, but it's okay. Let's just go ahead and be coding. So we have this operator, question double question mark equals to plus. I'm going to explain what it means, okay? And then we're going to print D. Okay. So we're going to try again and assign. Let's say assigning again to D. Okay. So yeah, let's copy that. Now we're gonna have A minus B, and yeah, that's going to be the value. Okay. So what are we going to have here? So let me first of all define what each operator is and what it means. So we came already across the equal to operator, which is this here. This one already highlighted. So it's used to assign values to the expression or variables, right? Like you see, this whole expression here is being assigned um to this variable C. Okay. So here now we have this other assignment. It's actually called the assignment operator. Yeah. And it's used to assign the value if it's used to assign the value only if it is null. Okay. So if and also that's another type null. Okay, we're going to come along all of that. Don't worry. So go ahead. So I'm just gonna clear my terminal. That operators. Ta-da! So we have this. So we actually won't see much, but we're just saying here that we had to get 5 times 7 assigning to C, and then we just printed that out. Okay. In the next part, we did A plus B and assigned it the value 12 and used it here. So now we tried assigning. Now this is where it actually gets interesting. Remember, what did I say this does? It assigns a value only if what is on the left hand side is null. Remember, we started with D being null, that's dynamic, okay? It means it didn't have a value at the beginning. So, but by this computation already, since here in this first line of code D is null, we have now by this expression here and done the computation. And this assignment operator is able to evaluate, okay, what's on the left hand side, is it null? Okay, if it is null, then it's now going to assign the value of A plus B to D. But now when we come down to the second case where we try again to assign, but this operator evaluates again. Okay, it evaluates again. Is the left hand side, what is on this left hand side here, is it null, which is false, right? Because it already had a value from the beginning, from this line of code here. Okay, so this operation now, it like forgets about it. It doesn't even care. That's why we still get another 12 being displayed in our terminal. So let's move on. As we come across the other operators, I'm going to be expatiating on that. Okay, so the next, I think we're left just with 3 more. The next operators we already have so far is okay, let me just first of all comment this out and copy this, copy that. The next operators we're going to have that for is what we call the logical, okay? Logical operators. Logic. Hmm. Already from what it is mean, I'm not gonna explain this one because you already can let's just reason out a little bit what it is all about, right? When I already say logic. Okay, so with the logic, I'm just gonna give the operators. Let's just go ahead as we did in the previous lessons and type it out. Then I'm going to explain what each operator, what is his name, and yeah, what it does. So we're just gonna use this 7 again. Using the AND operator, using the AND operator, we're going to say bool C is equals to A less than 10. Okay, and B less than 10. Okay, we're going to print C. The next one we're going to use C using the OR operator, using the OR operator, which we're going to say bool D is equals to A greater than 10. Okay, and I don't think that's it. Okay, B less than 10. And then we're going to print out D. Okay, so the next one we're going to see uh, using not operator. Bu E is equals to not A greater than 10. Okay, so we're going to say print E. Okay, oh, that was fast. Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead. Okay, so here we are talking about the logical operators, right? So, um, it's a classes of operators which we use to logically combine two or more conditions of the operands, right? Remember what I said, conditions here of the operands, and we have this double ampersand, okay, which is used to um add conditions, and if both are true then it will return true. Okay, if both are true it will return true. And then we have the or operator, which even if one of them is true it will return true. That's one can be true and the other one is false, but it's going to return true. But for the and operator, if one is true and one is false, it's going to return false. For the and operator, both have to be true. And now we have the not operator, which is just the reverse of the whatever result we get, okay, using the and or the or operator, or using even those the ones we talked earlier. I think we call them relational operators, which were giving us boolean values. Okay, so if terminal so declared, I just press my up arrow key and voila. So we are actually saying here that a is greater than 10. Is 5 greater than 10? Obviously false. And we are saying that 7 is less than 10, which is true, but we see that the outcome of this is that both of them are not true. So false has been returned. But here we see that here that a is greater than 10, that's um false, but this other side is true. So it returns true. Now we say is a greater than, now here we're saying a greater than 10, which is 5. 5 is not greater than 10. It's actually false. But now, since this not operator here is being used to negate the reverse, or to get a reverse of what we are having, it now gives us true, right? Because the reverse of false is true and true is false. So that's just what we do there. So pretty straightforward, right? Nothing more to add. I think, did I add logical operators here? So number 7. Okay. Number 7, we're going to use the conditional operators. Okay. I'm just gonna leave let me just copy all of these conditional operators. So we're going to say conditional operators. So we're gonna use the 5 and 5 and 7. And from here we're going to say var c uh, var c is equals to a less than 10. Okay, don't worry about it, and I'm going to explain to you what it does. So here we're going to say um, let's just say that's true, or let's just write here true. No, let's say statement is true. No, not true. That's correct. That's English. So statement is correct, and the statement is wrong. Okay, so we're going to print out in C, And then we're going to have the next conditional statement, okay, which here we're going to say int optional n. Int nullable n means I'm going to explain what that means. Conditional statement again. Okay, let's remove this out. We're just going to say conditional statement. Conditional statement. Okay, so we have that there, and then we're going to say var. Do we have a variable defined? So we're going to say var d is equals to n. Remember, okay, yeah, I think we didn't make mention of this in the n has a null value. The null, I think we call this the null aware operator. Null aware, I think the null aware operator. Okay, and okay, we're going to print out the value of t, and then we are going to do something else again here. Say n is equals to 10 here, and we're going to try assigning the value of n to d, and then we're going to print out d again. Okay, so now this is what we have with the conditional operators. Okay, for the conditional operators we have what we used to do comparisons, right, to which are used to perform comparisons on the operator, right, still for comparison and all the like, but it has its way of being used. Okay, so now the operator symbol is that you say expression one question mark, like not expression one, sorry, say condition, because here the first part has to be your condition, and then you have your expression one and you have your expression two. Okay, you have your expression two. So this is how this is like the operator symbol, that's it. And the name is still the same name, still called the operation conditional operator. But now let me just give a brief description of what it does. So it's I don't know, yeah, it's a simplified version of if else. We're going to come along the if else blocks and all of that. Okay, if else switch cases and all of that, we're going to come across that. So this just tells us that if this condition is true, if this condition here is true, then give us expression one. Else, give us expression two. Is just straightforward, right? So if this condition is true, whatever is here will be returned to us or executed. But if it's false, then this shall be given to us. Now for the second type, we just says expression one, this expression two. Now this one just means that if expression one is null, then return then we're going to return the expression 2. Okay, so if expression 1 is not null, if expression 1 is not null, or let me not say not, let me say non-null, okay, return to us expression 1. But if it is, then give us expression 2. Remember when we used this, we said that what if this let me not confuse you, let me just leave it like that. Okay, we're going to use that. So if this is null, so what's actually the the concept, what is actually the concept of null? I mean, null is how like put it, let me see. So null is a keyword. Yeah, okay, yeah, let's just start from that. Null is a keyword in the that programming language, right, which means a variable has no values assigned. The variable has no value assigned and it has not been initialized, right? That's what, and the variable is like not has not been initialized, but it's initialized with nothing. Okay, it's nothing. You just see like what we have here. So the variable has not been assigned value and it is initialized with nothing. That's what we mean by the concept of null. Okay, that's what we mean by the concept of null. So we see that if this expression here has been initialized with nothing, it has not yet assigned a value, then um, return to us expression two L. But if this expression one had a value, yeah, would have it's going to return to us expression one. So let's just go ahead and run that out. So hope this course is really going pretty. Oh, so it's going pretty long. What is going to 1 hour? So let's just run that out. That operators. Okay, yeah. So you can always say that that's what we get, right? So a is less than 10, which is true. So we get the statement is correct. For this other part, n has been made a null value, nullable value, and then we have tried now using this operator here to check if n is null, then we're going to assign to d n has a null value, which is actually what has been printed here. But check that here now, in this case, now I've assigned n a value. Okay. And now when we print that out, we assign the 10 to n, and now we assign the value of n to d, which now when we print out, we get now a 10. Okay. We get a 10, so it's already getting quite long. Um, yeah, I guess that's the last operator. That's the last operator we are going to use. But any other operator that we're going to come, we're going to meet up as long as we could. I'm going to explain that. Okay. So thank you guys for watching. It was actually great coding along with you guys. I mean, we form one big family. Okay. Cheers, Miss Square Nation. So we form one big family, and yeah, you guys should subscribe, like, and share the channels. I really appreciate spending the quality time I had with you. So let's see you again in the next course where I post 1 or 2 times a week. And yeah, it's all about me squared. So and helping you come along encounter with this awesome that programming language. So thank you very much for watching.